After years of using Excel in a corporate environment, here are my top 25 Excel 2016 tips and tricks. Welcome to Sele Training. I'm about to show you some useful tips and tricks for Excel 2016. They're in no particular order, so be sure to watch all the way through to the end of the video. These tips and tricks have made me more productive, and I'm sure they'll make you more productive as well. Take a moment and click the subscribe button on the bottom right of this screen, or at the end of the video, click on my smiling face. And as always, like, share, comment, ask me questions. I'm happy to answer every question that I receive. Now let's get started. Number 1, Quick Analysis Tool. Most people aren't aware of the Quick Analysis tool. When you highlight any table, in the bottom right corner is an icon. This is the Quick Analysis tool menu. If you click on that, it gives you a wealth of options that you can choose from to modify your table. For example, I can click on Totals, click Sum, and it shows the sum of the columns. You can click this sum, and it sums the rows. You can also do formatting on the table, add icons, create charts and insert them into your spreadsheet, turn it into a table, and add sparklines. There's so much available here, and it makes it quick and easy to avoid going through the menus and manually inserting each one of these different options onto your table. Number 2, Filter. If you're not using Filter, you should be. It's very simple. Just click anywhere inside of a table of data. Go to the Data tab, click this filter icon, and it creates a filter at the top of each one of the columns. When you click on one of these, it shows you all the unique options listed anywhere in that column, and you can turn them off, select one in particular, or 2 or 3 or as many as you like, hit OK, and it filters out only those rows of data that match that filter. It's a great way to manage large lists of information. Number 3, drop-down list. Say you want to select a list of values, like 1, 2, 3, 4, and you want it to be selectable from this column right here. Go to the Data tab, click on Data Validation, and choose List from the menu choice. In the source, select the choices that you want to make available and hit Enter. Make sure this in-cell drop-down checkbox is checked and hit OK. Now when you're in this column and you hit the down arrow, it gives you those 4 choices to choose from. If you try to type something that is outside of that range, it gives you a warning that that value doesn't match the list. Number 4, AutoFit column width. This is by far the quickest way to adjust the width on your columns. Just go to the space between columns till your cursor turns to this shape and double click. It'll automatically readjust the size of the columns to fit the widest point of the data anywhere in that entire column. You can also highlight all of the columns, click on any one of them the same way, and it will do multiple columns at the same time. Number 5, Transpose. Let's say you want to reverse the columns and rows in a table. All you have to do is highlight the entire set of data, right-click, copy, choose the location where you want to place the results, right-click, paste special, and check this box Transpose and hit OK. Now all the columns and rows have been reversed. Number 6, remove duplicates. Removing duplicates is handy if you have a list of names or other information where there's duplicates and you want to end up with a unique set of values. In this example, I'm going to highlight this list, click on Data, choose Remove Duplicates. The columns are selected, first name, last name, and amount, and in this case I'm going to hit OK to remove the duplicates where all 3 of those columns match. That should be true for column 3 and column 8. And as you can see, it removes the 1 duplicate value. Now let's do the same thing But in this case, we're not going to do the amount, and we're only going to do it where the first name and the last name are exactly the same. And it now removed 2 duplicates. Now be sure to use this remove duplicates when the results are going to be removed. If you just want to filter, you should use the filter as we looked at earlier, because this one deletes the data that is duplicates. Number 7, goal seek. Goal seek is an advanced function in Excel and is part of the what if analysis tools. In this example, say we have a number of items that we sell. We know how many, the quantity that we've sold of the first 2 items and the price each and what the total dollar amount is. But for the third item, we want to know how many of these we need to sell in order to get the overall total to $6,000. Well, you can punch in numbers right here randomly to try to figure that out. And then keep working it until you get to a number that matches the 6,000 that you're targeting. But you can also use the what if analysis to figure it out for you. To use goal seek, you want to start by clicking on the target cell. Go to Data, What If Analysis, and choose Goal Seek. It fills in that target cell as your set cell. The value we're trying to reach is 6,000, and the cell we're going to change is the quantity for item 3. When you hit OK, it goes through and calculates 197 is the magic number to reach that goal of 6,000 total. Just be aware that you can use your imagination to come up with all kinds of scenarios for the what if analysis using goal seek. It handles very complex solutions. Number 8, VLOOKUP. VLOOKUP is a very commonly used tool to find data in a list. In this example, I have a list of names with an associated ID. Over here, I'm creating a new table, and I want to reference the names in this table to look up the ID from this list and fill them in. To do that, I want to use the VLOOKUP function. Click on the Insert Function button, and you want to find VLOOKUP in the list. You can type it in, do a search against all, and once it's there, select it, and it brings up the function arguments. To remind you of what you fill in each one of these, there's description down here. The lookup value is what value do I want to look up in the list, and that is the name Nancy. The list that I'm going to choose from is the entire list. And the column index number is the column that I want to return the value from. In this case, this is column 1, and this is column 2. So I'm going to choose column 2. And finally, the range lookup is either true or false. If you use true, it looks for the closest matched. False is an exact match, and in almost every situation, you want to use false. Hit OK, and you can see that it looked up Nancy in the table and found the ID and returned it over here. All we have to do then is copy this data down. Now you'll notice right here, Carol isn't in the list, so it returns an NA. Now also note that there is an HLOOKUP function, which is horizontal instead of vertical. So if you're looking up something in a different format, you may need to use the HLOOKUP, but it essentially has the same parameters. And the beauty of the VLOOKUP function is if you change a value, it will update it automatically in the table. Number 9, Flash and Autofill. Flash fill and autofill are slightly different. In this example, we have some email addresses, and they fit the format of first name dot last name throughout the list. If you start typing the name because you want to pull it out of the email address, Flash fill automatically detects the pattern that you're using, and it recommends a solution to fill it in for you. So you can hit enter, and it fills those in for the remainder. Autofill is also based on patterns. So if you put a number in, for example, and you use the right corner and drag it down, it autofills those numbers in there. Now if I did 1, 2, and selected both and then drag it down, it sees the pattern and automatically increments by 1 each time. You can do the same thing with dates. With months. Just remember there has to be a detectable pattern and to use the correct option on the corners. So if you type something in and you drag it, it's going to copy it. If you type something in and you double click, it fills it in automatically, matching up with the left column next to it. And if you define a pattern, make sure you highlight both or more and then drag. Flash fill and autofill are both really good at making you more efficient in typing information in. Number 10, paste special values. Paste special values is a handy tool to use if you have a bunch of data with formulas and you just want to copy all of that information over to another location and get rid of all those formulas. So you can see on this, I have a formula that adds B and C together into a full name. I have a formula that does a divide by for the percentage on this. And if I want to just take those things and remove them and copy this to another location, so I just am left with the data, all you have to do is highlight, copy, pick a new location, and do paste special. In the list, choose values and hit OK. Now you'll notice when I highlight these, there's no formulas, it's just the value of the data. You'll find this to be more common than you'd think because oftentimes you want to remove all that formula and formatting and use the data in a different method. And this is a quick function to help you do that. Number 11, images in charts. It's real simple to spice up a chart with images. I've created a bar chart from a set of data. If you come into the chart and click at least a couple of times to bring up the format, click on this fill in line icon, go under fill, and there is a picture or texture fill option. If you select that, you can pick from a file and choose an image, and it will fill that image in on your chart in place of the normal texture. Number 12, if function. The if function is very handy if you want to do conditional data representation. For example, in this chart, I have a column A, B, C, D, a column with numbers. Some of those numbers are greater than 10 and some are less. I want to create an if function to determine when these numbers are greater than 10 and say big. And if they're less than 10, I want to say small. So I click on the function, type in if, choose all, and do go to search for it, bring up the if function. First parameter it asks for is the logical test. What we want to know is if this number is greater than 10. If that's true, we want to print big. And if it's false, we want to print small. Hit OK, and there you have your answer. I'm going to copy this down to the other ones, and now I can see the one that's small. Number 13, insert screenshot. If you want to insert a screenshot onto your Excel page, go up to the Insert tab, click on Illustrations, and go to Screenshot. It will show a list of active screens from other applications. Select the one you want, and it inserts the image onto the page. You can then adjust the sizing however you want, and you can also come up to the crop and crop out portions of the image. Number 14, absolute cell reference. Excel uses two types of referencing, relative and absolute. As you can see on this chart, C4 times D4 takes the quantity times the cost and gives a result. This is a relative cell reference because as I look down the list, it's referring to the second one to the left and the first one to the left in the formula. The total is also a relative cell reference because it is showing E4 minus F4, the discount. And as you move down the list, it's referring to the one to the second left, and the one to the left in the formula. Now, if I was to add a discount in here, the formula would be this number times this number. And this is a relative cell reference reflecting the one to the left times this one up here. The problem is when I copy this down, this one shouldn't be pointing to this number times G2 because there's nothing in G2. We want it to stay G1. So what we need is an absolute cell reference. To do that, all you have to do is put a $sign in front of G and a $sign in front of 1 to force that to be a fixed value to that cell. And now when we copy these down, it lists G1, then G1 there, G1 there, and G1 there as well. That is an absolute cell reference. Number 15, show formulas. Often a spreadsheet gets to the point where you have a number of formulas spread out all over the place, and it's really difficult to look at each one individually. Wouldn't it be nice if you could see a list of all the formulas all at once? You can go into File, Options, Advanced, and scroll down toward the bottom, and there is a Show Formulas in Cells instead of their calculated results. If you check that box and hit OK, it now actually shows all of the formula references for you to view. I'm going to turn that off. A shortcut method to do that is Ctrl-tilde, and you can toggle that on and off. Another option you have is just to double-click on a cell, and you can see the color codes of the reference cells that it's being used and the formula for that cell. And those options make it easier to see formulas at a glance. Number 16, text to columns. When using Excel, you'll often find yourself wanting to copy data from other applications or from a web page or other source. I have a set of data in Word. If I copy this and paste it into an Excel spreadsheet, unfortunately, it copies it all in as one line, and we really want it to break all of these components out into different columns. That's the whole purpose of using Excel. So there is a quick way you can convert these. Just highlight them, go to the Data tab, and click on Text to Columns. Now in this situation, you can choose between delimited or fixed width. These are separated by commas, so I'm going to pick delimited, and I'm going to choose comma and not tab. You'll notice down here that it knows where the spacing is between each column. You hit Next. You can change some of the formatting if you want to, and when you're done, hit Finish. And now it separates them into different columns. Just remember there has to be some delimiter to separate them out, or if it's fixed length, you can choose that as an option too. Number 17, conditional formatting. You saw a sneak peek of the conditional formatting when we looked at the quick analysis tool earlier, but there are more options available from the menu. Let's say on this table we want to show all of the entries that have greater than 2,000. Just highlight the list, and on the Home tab, choose Conditional Formatting. Select highlighted cells, rules, and choose greater than, and enter 2,000. Now it has highlighted everything greater than 2,000. If you want to turn that off, go back to Conditional Formatting and clear the rules. There's many other options available here. You can show the top 10%. You can change data bars so you have a visual representation. You can change the color scales for a more visual representation. I particularly like the icon sets. And you can even define a new rule and make up all kinds of options to select what you want. It's very powerful. So give yourself a better representation of your data through visual and highlighted items using conditional formatting. Number 18, PowerPivot. PowerPivot is a free feature that's installed as an add-in in Excel, but it's not installed by default. To enable it, go to the File, Options, click on Add-ins, and come down here to the bottom and choose COM add-ins and hit Go. You'll see in the list Microsoft PowerPivot for Excel. Check that box and hit OK. And it will add this PowerPivot tab onto your screen. When you click on that tab, you have a whole new set of features available to you. Now, without going into a detailed explanation of how to use PowerPivot, because you can find that information elsewhere on other videos, but the bottom line is this tool allows you to connect to other Oracle or SQL data sources and a variety of other data sets and use it as a BI tool for large sets of data. In fact, it expands the 1 million row limit of Excel to virtually unlimited numbers. It is meant to turn Excel into a business intelligence analysis tool. So take a look. Number 19, freeze panes. Freeze panes allows you to lock certain portions of the screen. In this example, I have a large set of data. When I scroll to the right, I lose the first column name information. And if I scroll down, I lose the header information. To solve this, you can use freeze panes. Click on the corner where you want the rows above and the columns to the left to be locked. Go to View and click Freeze Panes and choose Freeze Panes from the menu. Now when you scroll right, you can see the names in the left column. And when you scroll down, you can see the rows in the heading. To undo the freeze panes, just click on it again and click Unfreeze. Number 20, Ctrl-Arrow Keys. Don't forget to hold down the Control key when you're arrowing around a set of data. Control right arrow, down arrow, left arrow, up arrow. It'll move to the end, beginning, bottom, or top of the data set that you're working within. Number 21, 3D references. If you're tracking data over a period of time, it's often common to create a different month tab for each one of the sets of data. And in this case, I have September, October, and November. They are identical in terms of the format, but the data is different in each. Let's say I want to create a total of all of those. I can hold the Control key down and drag this tab and then rename it to get our total tab. Let's say we want to add a heading to the top of each one of these charts. Well, we can add it in and go into each one of the tabs one at a time. But with 3D referencing, all you have to do is click on one on the end, hold down the Shift key, and click the other end. Now you've highlighted all 4 of these tabs. Go ahead and do your insert, put in your heading, make your changes. And now, when you click on the individual ones, you'll see that changes I made were done on all 4. Now let's take our total and let's use a 3D reference to add the quantities from each one of these 3 tabs into this cell. I'm going to hit the sum. I'm going to go to the first tab, choose that cell, hold down the Shift key, and select all 3 and hit Enter. Now that you're on the total tab, you'll see that it sums September through November. Now I'm going to just drag these down, copy them across, and you have the total for all 3. That is 3D referencing. Number 22, forecast sheet. You want a quick peek at the future? So you've got a set of numbers here that look like they're in a pattern. All you have to do is highlight that, go to Data, and choose Forecast Sheet. This gives you a trend line and the forecast, and you can click the up arrow here to extend it out for a longer period of time if you want to look farther in the future. That's just a quick look at a forecast option for something really simple. Number 23, SUMIFS Function. The SUMIFS function allows you to do conditional summing of data. So in this example, I have a table with month, item, and amount. Over here, I'm going to add the sum of the amounts based on this criteria. Entering the SUMIFS function, we just do equals SUMIFS, and the range is the range of values that you're summing. The criteria in this first example is the month, so we're going to select the month range, and the value we're looking for is right there. Then you can see the total is 68, which is the sum of these first three. For this one, we're going to do the same thing. The range is still the values. The criteria that we're selecting for first is the month, with this being the month. We can continue on with another set of criteria, have it be the item, and this is the specific item we're selecting. And you can see 78 is the total of just May item number 2's. And that's the SUMIFS function. Number 24, IFERROR function. The IFERROR function can be used to clean up some bad data. For example, I have a formula here that calculates the per item amount for the quantity and the total. If I copy this down, I get a divide by zero error because the quantity on this line is 0. Well, the IFERROR function can be used to clean this up. All you have to do is come in here, add IFERROR in front of your formula, and if that value is an error, then what do you want to do? Let's just put in 0. Now when I copy that down, it puts a 0 in there, but still calculates the other locations correctly. And that's a quick fix with the IFERROR function. Number 25, filled maps. Filled maps are just like any other chart, but way cooler. Take a set of data, highlight it, make sure you have location-specific information in here, which can be a state, a city, a zip code, GPS coordinates, or any other location-related data elements. Go to Insert and choose Maps. Select this filled map, and your data elements will be placed on a map, in this case, the United States. You can also add different chart elements like data labels, and you can change the chart to different types of styles. It's a very cool 2016 feature. And that concludes this video of the top 25 Excel 2016 tips and tricks. Don't forget to check out the other tips and tricks videos for Outlook, Skype for Business, Word, PowerPoint, and more coming in the future. Thanks for watching. Hey, if you want to see more videos like this one, please subscribe. And if you've enjoyed this video, be sure to click the thumbs up and leave a comment. I really do appreciate your support.